On the air with me to look back on his first 100 days as Mason County Commissioner. I want to say good morning to Kevin Shutty. Good morning, Kev.
Morning, Jeff. How are you?
I am well. How are you?
Good to be back with you here today.
100 days. My gosh.
I know. I don't know where the time's going.
It really does go fast, and you have a chance now to stop and take a breath and look back to, roughly a third of a year already as not only newest member of the commission, but commission chair this year. And how do you think it's been going?
Yeah, so the first 100 days, it's always it's an interesting benchmark to talk about. Kind of the history on it. I used to be a history teacher, so I like the behind the story kind of aspect. First 100 days was started in the FDR administration, and it's really just about setting the tone, for your time in office and being able to have a strong start. And so, coming in, it was important to hit the ground running, really get out there and meet the county staff and learn about their day-to-day jobs and what they do for the county and how I can help them, achieve those goals. So that was certainly the first priority taken over. And then certainly, 5-10 minutes into the first meeting, being elected chair of the commission, I appreciate the confidence that Commissioner Netherland and Jeffries have had in me to go ahead and nominate me and vote for me for that position. And so, part of the deal with that is trying to run meetings that are efficient and that make the best use of our time and resources and staff's time and those kinds of things. So, sort of priority number 2 was making sure that I was prepared to chair the weekly business meetings and then the other briefing sessions that we hold during the week as well. So definitely a sink or swim kind of experience here in the first 100 days. But really the first 100 days for me is about starting strong so that we have we can continue working hard this year and for the rest of my term.
Yeah, it's not a sprint. It is a marathon. You're there behind the desk for a while. And have you heard that the meetings seem to be running smooth is kind of a relative term when it comes to governmental business, but more efficiently, quicker, things like that?
Well, I think one of the things that's important is we have to get to know each other in a professional. I've known both commissioners for a number of years, but when you get to work together, there's a bit of a process to figure out how we work with each other and those kinds of things. And I think we've weathered those those storms a little bit, and we're moving ahead. And I think things are working well. They're productive. The Journal has made a number of mentions at the length and duration of those meetings. I don't know if that's a function of how I've conducted the meetings as opposed to other chairs in the past. We haven't really had to tackle anything controversial, which I think is more the point. When we have briefing sessions and we talk about items that are going to be on the upcoming agendas, we have an opportunity to hash out those disagreements and talk about the how to make the policy better before we get to that point. And so the meetings really are to conduct business. It's not necessarily outside of the public hearings that we have. It's not an opportunity to necessarily rehash policy, and so we try to make sure that when we're in those open public briefings earlier in the week as we set the agenda for the upcoming weeks, that we really make sure that we do a good job of getting the policy right then, and that makes our meetings, I think, our business meetings run a little bit smoother.
What are some of the struggles? And like you said, you've known the commissioners and you've been involved in government at different levels in the state over the years. So coming in from a citizen to now commissioner and commission chair, what were some of the things that you have seen that really kind of opened your eyes? I know one of the things that you put forth, and I don't know if it's still moving forward with this, but you can talk a little bit about that idea for the biennial budget, the 2-year budget. But you kind of came with ideas. Was it because you walked in and you saw, wow, let's do something different here?
Yeah, I think there was an opportunity this year to really bring a fresh perspective to the commission, and we've been struggling with some of the same issues for a number of years, whether it be the Belfair sewer or it be our sort of the criminal justice system here in the county, in terms of the facilities that we have and the limitations that we have with the jail and the courthouse and those kinds of things. And so I really wanted to bring a fresh set of eyes to those discussions so that we could take a look at maybe some alternatives. That was part of the reason that I introduced the biennial budget proposal earlier this year at our commission retreat in February, and that's still moving forward. I'm going to continue to work on that. I think it's an important change that we can make so that it gives our staff and the elected officials in the county the opportunity to better implement and analyze the policies and programs that we have in place. And one of the other things that I think is important to note, and I brought my little cheat sheet here with me, but I have to give a hat tip to Senator Joe Fain, State Senator Joe Fain from the Auburn area. I saw he had a similar setup thing for his office, and I thought, boy, this was really these are great questions to ask, and when we're having conversations about what we want to do in the county. And so I'll briefly go through those, and this is as much for me in my office as it is for people who come to visit me and want to talk about issues and that kind of thing. And first question is, what do you want? I think that's always that's a great place to start, is what do I want? What program, what policy do I want to enact here? And being able to define that. The second thing we want to talk about is how much will it cost now and how much is it going to cost in the future? A lot of times we have opportunities through grant funding and different funding sources, one-time funding sources, to institute a program that's really fantastic. It could be a fantastic program that is really effective and does a lot of good. But how are we going to be able to sustain that program long-term, and how are we going to pay that in the future? Third is how are we going to measure success? What does success look like? What are the outcomes that we want to achieve that would make this program or policy a success? And to go along with that is, how will we be held accountable for failure? Okay, we have to realize that not every program or project is going to be a huge success. It's going to take some time. We have to work through some of those issues. And so how are we going to be held accountable for that failure? And then finally, and maybe the most important one of all, is how does this help us meet our county's mission? What are the goals and objectives of the county that are going to be met through this project? And that's really important. Our county mission statement says, we're here to provide for the health, safety, and well-being of the Mason County residents. So how does what we propose fit into that umbrella? Fit under that? So I try to use those as the guidepost, for accomplishing what we're trying to accomplish, and especially as we move into the budget season, especially as we look at maybe potentially moving to a biennial budget. These are the things that I hope will guide our conversations, and these are the questions that I'll be asking as we get deeper into that.
It's a lot of heady work that you have to do, but every so often you do get to do some fun things. Like this Thursday, you guys have getting ready to talk about the opening of the new fields at MCRA. I mean, so that's another cool thing. That's
absolutely. So we'll have a ribbon cutting there, really to celebrate the improvements up there, and a lot of that work was started well before I became commissioner, and just really appreciative of the community coming together on that, and the work of our staff, our facilities and parks staff have been fantastic on seeking out these grant opportunities and really implementing them well, so we get a good outcome for the community, and this is just another example of that. So really looking forward to getting out there, and those fields are going to be utilized heavily here in the next couple months, over the summer months, and it's really exciting. It's a great opportunity for Mason County.
Trying to see if it's going to rain. I mean, it wouldn't matter because the fields look great.
Yeah.
But you guys out there have to stand in it.
Yeah.
I kind of wish it. Not for you, but I wish it was raining pretty heavy, so see how great they do work. And it looks to be about a quarter inch that day. You should be fine.
Yeah.
Mason County Commissioner Kevin Shutty, anything else before we let you go on this 100-day look back?
Just appreciate this opportunity. We have a lot of work to do, but as a commission, we're committed to getting the job done. And as always, please don't hesitate to pick up the phone or send me an email. Look forward to hearing from constituents and hearing what's going on out in the community, and how we can help.
Very nice. Mason County Commission Chair Kevin Shutty on his first 100 days in office. Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff.